take projection.
It's Friday morning, and you know what that means. It's time for another episode of the Alabama Slam podcast. I'm your host, Corey Hanna.
What's going on, guys? It's Patrick Akers.
And with us is guest host slash guest slash all-around sports guy, TD. TD, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. How y'all doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well. For those, we'll get into it real quick. We talk all the time at the end of the show about taking on sports and our network of podcasts at the Alabama Takes. TD is a co-host of Taking on Sports. It is a every other week podcast about sports in general, a lot of football talk, and a little bit of everything else. So y'all go follow Taking on Sports on all the social medias. And let's get into it, man. It was Wrestlemania week. Started off with a kick-ass night one. Night two, I thought, went a little sideways. Card was pretty stacked, I thought, for Saturday to begin with, but I thought they pretty much did the right thing with all the matches on Saturday, and then I felt like they kind of shit the bed on Sunday, and then Raw went completely off the fucking rails on Monday night, in my opinion. But I'll let y'all touch on that. Let's get into night one main event first with the undisputed tag team champions with the Usos versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. TD, since you're a guest, I'll let you start off, and then we'll get Patrick in on it.
I thought it was great, man. One of my favorite matches of the weekend for sure. They told the right story. Obviously, at some point maybe we all thought Sami should be the guy to dethrone Roman, but that's another conversation, right. I guess.
It's been the last 6 months of our podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, literally. Yeah. But no, obviously we know that those four guys can all just absolutely bring it in the ring and great storytellers, and KO and Sami and the Usos have been doing God's work for the past, 5-6 years in the tag team division.
Yeah.
One of those, two teams in WWE propping it up. So it was just all around fun match, great ending. The crowd was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt like they really nailed it all Saturday. Was there anything that stood out to you about it?
It's hard to single out like any one thing. It was just it wasn't too overbooked. Like maybe the next night's main event was. It wasn't. It was decent storytelling. Didn't need to be absolutely insane, but it was the right amount of craziness.
Right.
Like I said, those four guys, just kind of put them in the ring and let them do it, their thing. And I will say, like, my one complaint, I think I even mentioned it this week on Taking on Sports, is that Peacock doesn't let you start a live event over if it's still in progress.
Oh, Jesus.
So we were doing some housework, working on our deck here. And so I got in late and I was going to watch a few hours, like the first half of night one late Saturday night. And I literally connected to the event right as the referee was counting three.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So I knew that. I kind of figured that was the way it was going to go anyway, but it was a little shitty that way. But
yeah.
We're going to put people on Mars and we can't figure out this fucking streaming thing. Bleacher Report's the same way. Bleacher Report won't let you, on my phone it works, but on my Roku, I can't. It's the same thing. I always join these things late, and then I just can't go back.
Until I had to wait till midnight for them to get the replay up.
Oh god, so stupid.
I'm pushing 40. I can't do that damn stay up till 5 a.m. watching things anymore. And you could do it on the WWE network. That's the most frustrating part.
Right.
Yeah, I bitch about the Bleacher Report app all the time because I missed something huge in the last AEW pay-per-view because the time before that I was behind because of the buffering on that fucking app on the Amazon Fire Stick. And then, so I completely missed the ending of the match that headlined the previous pay-per-view. So on this one, I would every 5 minutes or so, I'd fast forward just to go be caught up with the live marker. So I didn't miss anything, miss the end of the match. Well, I missed a huge fucking event in the, Danielson versus MJF thing. I was like, what the fuck happened? I was real confused. So yeah, I bitch about that all the time. Patrick, give me your thoughts on the Usos and Sammy and Kevin.
I mean, it just absolutely spectacular. I wish that, and maybe there was a camera back there, but I wish I could have been on fly on the wall when Sammy and KO were standing in Gorilla and their music was about to hit, because these are two guys who shouldn't be in this moment, all things considered, right? I mean, you go back to the way WWE was 15 years ago, guys that looked like them weren't in these positions.
Right.
And being in Los Angeles, wrestling at PWG, where they made their name in a damn VFW hall, and then they're walking out in front of 80,000 people. And what really is, I think for a lot of people, I know probably us, it was our most anticipated match by far, and the one that we had the most stock invested in. And then just the absolute storytelling in this match, for the Usos too. These are guys who, most of these WrestleManias, they've been on the pre-shows, because the tag team division, while they've been like the best of the tag team division, really hasn't been paid attention to that much by the WWE brass. And so to have a tag team match, which first of all hasn't main evented WrestleMania since WrestleMania 1, and then the tag team titles have never been defended as the main event of any WrestleMania. And so to have those four guys be in that position, it was special to see. And then the match was, I thought perfect. I thought it was, they hit on everything they needed to hit on. The storytelling, the three haluva kicks in the corner, and he just holds Jay up. And I think the camera, I think after the first one where Jay like collapsed in Sammy's arms, I think Sammy told him, I think he said, "It's okay, Oos," and then just lifted him back up. Wow. Again, playing on that relationship that they've had. And then, the 1, 2, 3 happens, and the fucking 80,000 people in that stands go crazy. And it was special to see. And it was the moment of the weekend by far.
Absolutely.
Because the train wreck was, it was all downhill from there. But sure. I thought overall night one might be the best WrestleMania of all time.
I mean, it'd be hard to argue. Obviously, I haven't seen every WrestleMania, but top to bottom, fantastic. I mean, the only one that really didn't have any relevancy to me was the men's WrestleMania showcase match with the 4 tag teams, but everything else I thought was pretty amazing.
Yeah, and so that's again, from where Sammy was 12 months ago to now, he's wrestling Johnny Knoxville, and now
and he even said it. Yeah,
now he's at this thing. It's it was special to watch, man.
Yeah, I do want to move on unless you guys have any other thoughts about that match and where that story goes from there.
I have no idea where the story goes from there. That's probably the thing I'm most interested to see. But I did notice the camera catching him saying something to Jay, and I thought they were going to do, even when it zoomed in on Sammy's face, I honestly thought they were about to do a callback to Sammy's NXT title win, when he got in the corner and like wiped his face, like basically wiped away all of his, weight from that storyline. And I thought they were going to do a little callback there, Trips, but it was a perfect ending. I mean, like y'all said.
Yeah, can't argue that. So let's get into the first match from that night: Austin Theory versus John Cena. What did y'all think on that one, TD?
It was a match.
It happened.
Yeah, it happened. That's about, I mean, I see the theory and potential. He hasn't really, or the potential in theory. He hasn't really clicked for me yet. And at this point, the Cena kind of special appearances are hit or miss for me. And this one just kind of missed. It wasn't horrible by any means, but it wasn't, and it was, I guess, the perfect openers, Cena and all that, but it was just, it happened.
Yeah, I mean, you put Cena in this position to give Theory a win, and like you said, the all the potential in the world is right there in Theory. He just needs reps, man. He just needs to be put in this position to kind of figure it out. He reminds me so much of like a young Randy Orton. Um, but the thing that really made Randy Orton a superstar was that the Legend Killer gimmick, right? We had that feud with Mick Foley that ended in Backlash and that crazy fucking hardcore match. Like that's what made Randy a star. So Theory needs somebody like that. I don't know who it is on this roster. If there's anybody on this roster that can do it, I don't know if it's. I don't know if you go get somebody else. Any other kind of legend that can maybe still work. You know, Edge is on the roster. Could we have some kind of Edge and Mick Foley had a crazy rivalry? Could we have Edge versus Theory to put Theory over? He just needs something. He needs something that he can sink his teeth into, because you can see the confidence start to build in the guy. And so now's the time to really put him in a situation, I think, with a really good dance partner for a long time.
And he needs something consistent. He kind of like got bounced around in his NXT run, and then he kind of bounced around when he got called up to the main roster. You know, he was wasn't he part of Seth Rollins' little Monday Night Messiah group?
Yeah.
For like a hot minute, and then did nothing forever. He just, like you said, he needs a good dance partner and just consistency.
Well, he's probably going to get that push with Vince being back, because Vince was always real big on this guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fucking WWE's back, baby. It's shitty booking, it's questionable decisions, it's got a mustache on, but it's still the same old shit.
Say, is this where we have that part of the conversation?
I mean, we might as well while we're here. Let's because it's broke. Like Endeavor and fucking Vince is back.
Yeah. Well, Patrick said in a different group thread the other night was like, so people were like, Vince is back. And Patrick was like, yeah, no shit. We saw fucking Sunday night, and then we saw Monday. We're not dumb.
Yeah, it's just look, the sell to Endeavor could be good, right? I mean, now Endeavor is primed as the premier live touring attraction of the United States with the UFC and WWE. Still, I think these business people have no idea what the fan base of wrestling looks like, because I don't know about you, TD or Corey. I don't know a single person that likes UFC and WWE.
No.
Mm-mm.
One is a combat sport, and the other one is basically like it's live theater. It's two completely, totally separate fan bases. But it makes sense logistically, I guess, to have them be under the same umbrella, because it's a very similar thing, going to different cities, putting on these matches, whatever, yada, yada, yada. The fucking Vince McMahon coming back, though, is just, it's wild.
So there, I've already heard a ton of things that could have possibly happened. Like, you know, there's already speculation that Bailey's asked for a release. You know, there was speculation all week that LA Knight was going to get a big moment. That didn't happen. People were saying that's because of Vince coming back in control over the weekend or before the weekend, whenever it happened. You know, other things, obviously during Raw on Monday night, Seth Rollins goes out to do a fucking promo, and then they come back from commercial and he just walks out of the ring.
Yeah. It was and then there that video surfaced where basically in the commercial break, production guy's talking to him, and he's just like throwing his hands up. There was another thing I saw on Reddit where somebody was sitting behind one of the control boards, and he was like, there's been at least like 7 or 8 times where somebody's come and given them like a new script as the show is going. So the one person I feel bad for in this is Michael Cole. Because for these 9 months, this dude has been on the top of his game. I thought he was absolutely fantastic throughout all of WrestleMania. And I mean like on some legendary type shit. And so if that old dipshit with the pencil looking fucking mustache is going to scream in this dude's ear again, like I can't. I guess in a way, thank you, WWE, because I'll fucking have my Mondays and my Fridays free again if it goes down.
Yeah, that's a lot of fucking time. The one thing that kind of sucks for me is like my wife Jamie had just kind of been dipping her toes in on the Bloodline story and the Judgment Day story the last couple months. So it does suck knowing that like this could all go sideways real fast. And then I'm like, well, I don't even want to fucking watch this shit anymore. And she doesn't want to watch AEW. because she's seen parts of it and she thinks it's a little too much for her. So it sucks because like it was a thing that because we don't watch a lot of stuff together like we used to. We used to watch a lot of TV together, and now we don't really have a lot of time for it. So wrestling has been a thing that we've done together, and I guess fuck Vince is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned Cole. Cole's absolutely the biggest victim here, and the women. Obviously, if Bailey's, I guess from what I read too, her segment got scrapped. There was supposed to be a triple threat for a number one contender, or two triple threats for a number one contender, and they scrapped it for the tag team match. And then, so I don't blame her, and you kind of wish that they had a union or something like that. They would just walk out and be like, "Look, we're not doing this."
Yeah.
We've had high morale for the past 8 months or whatever it is, and instantly you start reading these reports. Oh, morale dropped again. I saw today Triple H is going to make another appearance on SmackDown. I assume to say the same thing he said Monday. Like nothing's going to change, but it's disheartening because like y'all touched on it, but it's like already makes you want to be like, all right, we're done. Like, cool, thanks for night one.
Yeah,
we'll see you later.
I was thinking real hard about it yesterday. I was like, well, this might be the time for me to sign up for the Ring of Honor app. I'd much rather spend my time watching Eddie Kingston every week than whatever is probably going to happen. Because that's one of the things she asked me. She was like, what's the problem with Vince coming back? And then Monday Night Raw happened. And like, I missed the last 30 minutes of it. And I came back from running an errand and she was like, so like this weird thing happened with Seth Rollins. And then all of a sudden, like when Cody and Brock were supposed to team up, like he just turned on Cody before the thing and beat the living shit out of him. And I was like, okay, Vince. Yeah, that's all this shit is like Vince. Vince is behind all of it. I was like, he changes scripts 15 minutes before the show, during the show. I was like, that's why the shit with Seth Rollins happened. So, yeah, I don't know, man.
I would, I think I mentioned this a couple podcasts ago, but like, I think all this shit would be way different. I think the weekend would have been completely different as well if AEW was just on the top of its game. If it was popping off, and there was 1.5, 1.6 million people watching every Wednesday, around 800, 700,000 people watching on Friday with this Access show, and like they were just nipping at the heels, all this shit would be different. But they're not, and but now here is an opportunity for them. I mean, if a Bailey is potentially floating out there within the next couple months, if she leaves the company, and you have Mercedes Moné that's out there, you just signed Jay White. There are rumors Drew McIntyre's contract is up at the end of this year. You fucking Drew McIntyre in AEW, like you got, and then Wednesday they announced this Wembley show. So, and if they can put, I mean, Wembley, I think it holds 90,000 people. I don't know if they can do that many, but if they put, 50, 60,000 people in fucking Wembley Stadium, and maybe a CM Punk shows up there, and then you do a card that has some New Japan guys on it with like Okada or Ospreay, and you have Omega and the Bucks and Hangman and MJF and all this shit, and then it's top to bottom the card, the wrestling is just fantastic. Like that'll be some momentum.
Yeah, give me Orange Cassidy and Will Ospreay Part 2. Or give me Omega and Ospreay.
Well, and that would be if CM Punk comes back, Omega will be in that thing with them. But Monday night was rough, and I'm sure we'll get to it when we start talking about Cody. But yeah, just had to bring that up. The Endeavor sale, it's a big deal. We had 9 months without Vince. Now he's back.
Yeah, and real quick, I think I asked it on Twitter too, but do you remember the last great Raw after Mania?
It was probably before they started calling it Raw after Mania.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
there was one where like the crowd would just like. I remember Sheamus being in the ring and like just couldn't say anything because the crowd was like fucking amped. Basically, what WWE's done though is they just beat the shit out of these crowds, right? Because now it's with NXT and 2 nights of WrestleMania. It used to be just one night of WrestleMania, so these people would come in and they'd go to all these indie shows. They'd have one night of WrestleMania and they'd still be hyped up Monday. And so they just come take over the show.
Yeah.
But like, it's like anything, like, that favorite band that you like or that song that you like, it kind of loses all its luster once it's like in a McDonald's commercial. And they're like, "Hey, this song's real cool, right?" And you go, "Well, it kind of was before you started doing this shit
Yeah.
to it. Now it's whatever." So yeah, the
Yeah.
Raw after Mania the crowd was completely dead. Also, I guess the surprise was just that there was no surprises.
Yeah, that's the worst part. Yeah.
Matt Riddle was back, and nobody cares.
Yeah,
I've never been fond of that dude, so that didn't do anything for me. Let's get into the next one: Strowman and Ricochet versus Alpha Academy versus Viking Raiders versus Street Profits. Y'all got anything on that one, or do you want to move on to the next one?
A couple cool spots, but nothing really
Yeah,
of
I'll
substance.
just say that Ricochet is like watching a pitcher that can throw like 104 miles an hour, and for some reason the manager's just like, "Why don't you just throw knuckleballs?" That's basically what it's like. If this dude was unhinged, he would be fucking incredible. That
Yeah.
shooting star press that he did to the outside, I've never seen anybody just float like that.
yeah, dude's something else, man.
So I mean, I'm glad that he's making a lot of money in WWE, and he's maybe he'll make all his money and then go back on the Indies or go back to Japan and just set the world on fire again, because it's kind of Chad Gable same way.
Yeah.
Chad Gable, if he was unhinged, like he would be an absolute megastar.
Well,
I think.
and Montez Ford, he's right there too.
I still don't know what the hesitation is with Montez, but Dawkins had probably the spot of that match, right? Just knocking the hell out of Strowman.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was good. That was good stuff. Well, so Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul. My wife all week was like, Logan Paul's such an asshole. I don't know if I want to watch that one. I was like, yeah, he is, and he's a douche and a real piece of shit. But I was like, he's going to put on a good show. I was like, he always does in these matches. But I don't think it was as good as his match with The Miz. I just felt like there was something missing there. What did y'all think?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I thought it was good. I thought it was probably. I think the whole time I was watching it, though, I was just like, "Damn, I wish Seth Rollins was in a better position than having to do this."
Yeah.
And look, I mean, Logan Paul's obviously a big deal. Bringing him into the WWE universe with as much cachet as he has in today's entertainment world, but Seth should be main eventing this thing, right? He should be in a prime time spot, and he's doing this Logan Paul thing, and he's really doing it because they don't have anything else for him, right? Roman's tied up in this thing, and you have Sami Zayn has come on, and so Seth has kind of been in this limbo where he is relentlessly entertaining, and the drip that guy had going on Saturday night was just impeccable. I mean, when I first started watching WWE again, I was like, I don't get what Seth Rollins' character is, because he was wearing these goofy outfits and just laughing. And then finally it clicked where I was just like, oh, that's just what it is. Like he's kind of fucking bored by all this, so he's like wearing these outfits and getting the crowd to do the sing along, and it's incredible to watch. And I don't know, maybe he's primed for a big 2023. I don't know. This was a good match. The spot with KSI and the Prime bottle was funny, but I mean that's all it was.
Yeah. Well, we can keep it moving. We've got a whole lot of stuff to cover. Trish Stratus, Becky Lynch, and Lita versus Damage Control. Didn't see a turn there. Or were you thinking it would come later, Patrick?
The rumors that the Trish turn's going to happen later, but who the hell knows now?
Yeah, I've kind of had enough of these. Look, Trish and Lita, very important for that division and very important part of my adolescence. But I'm tired of these part-timers coming in and taking shine off of active members of the roster. Not only active members, but people like Io Sky and Dakota Kai and Bailey, who are like top-notch wrestlers who are just jobbing to, retirees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for them to be a heel group, they haven't beaten anybody.
No, they've booked them horribly.
Bianca took all of them out, and then they get beat by Trish and Lita and Becky. And I don't know where you go with damage control from here, especially if Bailey
probably
Bailey's
nowhere
on the
now.
house. Yeah, probably don't. So
It's that curse of like the Wyatt family. They always told us how threatening and ominous and horrible they were, but then they never let them win feuds.
yeah, like if a heel group has to come in and whoop everybody's ass.
Yeah, they need to like put somebody on the shelf for a few months, like take a belt off somebody, piss the fans off, and they just don't do that. They're like an annoying prick, but they're not scary.
Yeah, they're not scary.
And when you have Io Sky and Dakota Kai, like Io Sky could be the most frightening member of the roster, period, by herself, and you just don't let her be her.
So up next, Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio. This was one I was really looking forward to. I know Patrick was as well. We've talked about this one a lot leading up to it. TD, give us your thoughts on it before I get Patrick in on it.
I did think it was one of the best builds of any match on the roster. So I was very much anticipating it. I enjoyed it. As y'all have progressed on Dom, I've kind of progressed with y'all too, listening to y'all and how first day I was just like, all right, I don't know what we're doing here. This kid needs like some NXT time or whatever. But now he's, arguably the most entertaining part of the show every time he's on. And I thought this was a really well done match. There's talk that Ray might hang it up soon. So if this is his last huge, WrestleMania moment or whatever it was, I thought it was well done. And it's always nice to see like the mom slap the taste out of someone's mouth too. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Patrick.
I mean, listen, nothing sells you on a blood feud between a father and a son. There's so many biblical themes here. Nothing sells you on that like fucking Cinnamon Toast Crunch. What the hell was that damn sponsorship doing? Why this match? Why not the fucking one with Ricochet and in the tag match where Ricochet could have done a cool spot and Montez Ford could have done something with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch? Why the fuck did they pick this one?
Yeah, somebody did not think that one through. Unless Cinnamon Toast Crunch was like, hey, we're all in on Rey Mysterio and Dominic. We want to be in on this.
Maybe.
But why do you insert yourself into something like that?
I don't know. That's the only thing where I was just like, and I should have known there, like, okay, yeah, this night one's been great, but this should be a bad omen right here. Anyway, fucking Dominic Mysterio is a star. The walkout was just absolutely perfect. The same way that we talked about Austin Theory needing like reps and like building up confidence, that's what Dom's gotten for this past year. Yeah. And he comes walking out when the car door opened up and he had the mask on and he undid the hood. Like, that's just a dude that knows that like he's the shit and he's about to go have a great moment up against his legendary father. I mean, you want to talk about builds to this match outside of Cody and Roman and the tag match. This was it, right? This was the biggest match going into WrestleMania. It had the most storyline behind it. So I thought it was great. And this is not the end of the story. Obviously, they're about to go down to Puerto Rico and put a shit ton of people in a stadium with Bad Bunny. So like Dom and the Mysterios are riding high after this. I love the Mysterio took off his belt and whooped him.
Yeah.
Great spot. Whoever has like helped guide this feud and help guide Dom's character. Just kudos to them, man, because it's been a joy to watch. It's been one of my favorite things that WWE has done this year by far.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice payoff, and there's a little bit more to the story, I'm sure. Do you think this is how Ray will go out, like with this storyline, sometime this year?
Oh man, I don't know. Does he need to?
But he would be the professional guy to go out on his back and like put his son over as like a superstar.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know, man. Is he gonna take the mask and just start wearing it all the time? That'd be kind of badass.
Yeah.
If he beat his father so bad he takes his mask and just wears it now.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you mean in like a heel way or like some change of heart way where he realizes he's been brainwashed and he takes it as like a legacy thing?
No, I think Dom's I think it's with the heel. I think is where he goes, because he doesn't really have the same athleticism as his father does, but what he's better at than Ray ever was, it's kind of just like the character work, and he just has a natural punchable face. So just kind of go with it. Although I said he didn't have the charisma of his father, and then the first thing I fucking brought up was like 1999 Rey Mysterio, where they unmasked him, and he was just unhinged at the pants and shit. So maybe Dom does that. Maybe Dom just throw back to his dad from the late WCW days.
Yeah, let's get into the SmackDown Women's Championship, Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. This one turned out like I thought it would and should. Rhea is a badass. You could even kind of tell at the end, like Charlotte kind of gave her some props. And this is what I was trying to explain to my wife. I was like, the whole reason they put the belt on Charlotte in the first place recently was so that Rhea's first big title could be prestigious, over somebody like Charlotte. So yeah, I was pretty happy with the way this one turned out. TD, what you got?
Yeah, for it was probably again one of my top 3 or 4 matches, especially for one that the build wasn't that great. It's just kind of Rhea wins the Royal Rumble and she's gonna play Charlotte. They didn't really play too much into they mentioned it, but they didn't really play off their match at Mania a few years ago.
Right.
That much. But yeah, I've loved Rhea since she was in her NXT UK days. Charlotte is Charlotte. People love to bitch about her for some reason, but damn, she's so good at what she does. It's hard.
That's just haters gonna hate, man. Charlotte's the queen for a reason. She's still fucking good.
Yeah, and so I thought this was a really great match. Maybe the best singles match of the weekend. I don't know. But yeah, I enjoyed it. That's it. 5 stars, TD, whatever.
Yeah, I think this was kind of in the perfect spot, because there was all kinds of talk going into WrestleMania who's going to main event night 1, and basically it was down to like it's either going to be the tag match or it's going to be Flair and Rhea, right? And I think it was a very smart choice to put the tag team match on last. 1, because you're going to have the audience with the story, and then 2, I think you naturally kind of had a little bit of energy between Flair and Rhea where they're like, okay, you're not going to put us in the fucking main event. We're going to go out here and we'll steal the show.
Uh-huh.
And that's always a cool place to put people in to see how they rise to the occasion. And these 2 women absolutely tore the house down. Corey, you and I talked about, we thought Bianca and Asuka would be the best women's match of the weekend. It wasn't even close. It was Flair and Ripley. And you even saw it with Flair, like she's basically smiling, giddy as can be, as Rhea is inside the ring holding the championship, because I think she knew at that moment, like, we had them the whole way. And this is going to be something where I'm going to be able to look back on this match 15, 20 years from now, and it's going to hold up. And people are going to, like, I talk about this all the time, but like the next big Rhea Ripley or Charlotte Flair 10, 15 years from now is going to talk about in an interview how they watched Flair and Ripley at WrestleMania 39 tear the house down, and it motivated them to like be a wrestler. And when you make those moments like that, that's where it's special. I don't know how Rhea Ripley stays a heel after this. Good luck. if that's what you're gonna do, like, because she's gonna have the fans on her side.
Yeah, because your speculation for a while was that they would boot Finn Balor out of the Judgment Day, and she would end up taking over, but it's kind of hard to run with that angle at this point.
I mean, she's the biggest star of that group. As much as I love Dom and Damian and Finn, I mean, it's her.
Oh, absolutely.
They should position her as such too. And that's also something that we've talked about before. We've never seen a woman in that position leading a stable full of men.
Yeah, that'd be fucking badass.
And she's the sole champion in that group too.
Yeah, true.
So
true. Yeah, man. Well, we've mentioned the tag team championship already for night 1, so let's just get on that downhill slide and go into night 2. So you start off with Lesnar and Omos. That was a turd. you get 8 to 10 minutes of Omos just beating the absolute hell out of Lesnar. Lesnar gets like 3 offensive moves on Omos, and it's like, oh, there's a pin. Yeah, I don't look. The F5 was impressive, fine, but that don't convince me that this man took the L. Like, I just thought it was hot garbage from the start. Yeah, TD, what you got?
I was just gonna say next. Pass.
How long do you think Brock stayed in Los Angeles? 3 hours?
Maybe.
Well, I guess.
Well, he was there the next night.
Yeah, he had to stay for Monday. Yeah, but no, yeah,
That's true.
Brock being the baby face imperiled does not work, and I don't need to see it.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, let's move on from that one into another one that did not hold my attention whatsoever. The women's tag team fatal 4-way: Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Natalya and Shotzi versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler versus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. This one really didn't do anything for me. These 4-way matches like this often do not do anything for me, so I wasn't really expecting much out of this one.
Yeah, I like Liv Morgan. I like Raquel Rodriguez. Shotzi has got a cool appearance, but she's just not great. Ronda and Shayna, I do not give a damn about whatsoever. And then Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, they're intriguing as a tag team, but they just started. And This is WrestleMania. We couldn't figure out some other kind of match to go on here. I get that you want to put a bunch of people on the card, but yeah, this was again. It's just we went over 2.
Yeah, this is why we have things like the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
Yeah,
that's your paycheck match.
Yeah,
get everybody on there. Yeah, there's a lot of women in this match that I really like. Like, I'm a Liv Morgan fan. I think Raquel Rodriguez has potential. I think they cut her NXT run too short. Shotzi's got something there. I love Shayna Baszler. I just wish that we would get like 5 years ago Shayna Baszler, like when I saw her headline NXT New Orleans that Mania weekend. But yeah, this was also found myself scrolling through Twitter a lot when I watched this one.
Yeah. Because it wasn't on the official match card, I neglected the Pat McAfee surprise return versus The Miz. And I just happened to think about it. I'm always happy to see Pat McAfee. I didn't really know shit about Pat until Patrick and I started the show, and he talks about Pat a lot. And I see a bunch of the TikToks that pop up from his show. It's pretty entertaining. But that was a nice surprise. I still kept thinking that was going to be LA Knight coming out for that, but
probably might have been at some point.
Could have been.
The Miz his 2 segments for the weekend were pretty eventful, at least, with the McAfee return and then Shane O'Mac coming back and then instantly blowing out his knee.
So whose call was it to bring back Shane O'Mac?
I don't know.
Shane O'Macs? I don't know.
Do the McMahons do they just not stretch? Are they against stretching? I don't understand.
Family tradition. Blow out that quad.
Yeah. And then kudos to Snoop and fucking Miz for calling it in the ring, right?
Yeah.
and shout out to the referee for just shouting people's elbow on the apron full to the camera. It's like, fuck it, it's live. We got to figure something out.
I never hear that stuff. I see tweets about it and stuff. I'm just oblivious to that shit.
Oh, she was. I think it was the referee Jessica Carr. She was yelling it. I mean, hands over the mouth. People's elbow. People's elbow.
I got a good chuckle out of it.
Yeah.
I did see a TikTok today. Because everybody's giving Snoop such praise for calling an audible, but like you see the cameraman trying to hold the camera with one hand, and he's just yelling, "Punch Miz!"
Yeah,
and he's gesturing with his hand, like "Punch Miz!" So yeah, shout out to the camera guy for relaying the message to Snoop.
Snoop was high as shit. He wasn't trying to damn.
Oh, hey, teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah, there you go.
It worked out though. I mean, it looked pretty good on TV, I thought.
I mean, it was fun. I mean, it was just fun. That's why you have Miz in that spot. It's right. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's such utility in having guys like that up and down the roster. WWE's full of them. And you can never have enough of them.
Yeah.
So next year, Miz and Maurice versus Snoop and Martha Stewart, right?
Oh hell yeah, I'd be down for that. First of all, anytime I can get Maurice on screen, it's just that's
Yes.
anytime. I got Trish Stratus this year. If I could get Maurice next year, that'd be it.
Well, let's get into the triple threat, which I should have known with the way this turned out that something was amiss in the booking moving forward. Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre versus Gunther. I ain't mad at Gunther. Gunther's a great champion, and this was pretty entertaining as far as some of the rest of the night went. But at one point, Sheamus was so over. I was like, okay, he's finally getting this belt because he's never had this one. And then, we got swerved. Still not mad that Gunther retained because, dude's a fucking machine, but I don't know, just not really the way I thought it was going to go.
I mean,
TD?
Oh, well, yeah, go ahead, TD.
Well, Patrick, you were queued up. You go ahead.
I just wanted to say I thought this was one of the best intercontinental matches I've ever seen. It's one of the best three-way matches I've ever seen. It's up there with like Daniels and Joe and AJ Styles and fucking Daniels and Low Key and Danielson from Ring of Honor, and WWE had one. What was it? Seth and Brock
and John Cena
and John Cena.
Royal Rumble.
Yeah. And so this was up there. Like you said, Corey. I thought Sheamus was going to win, just because I thought having a nice moment at WrestleMania, making him finally giving him a Grand Slam championship after all the years he's had with that company. Listen, we talk about who the best wrestler in the world is, and I think hands down it's kind of Bryan Danielson just for what he's able to do. I'm not so sure that fucking Gunther's not number two. With just what he has to, the quality of matches that he has on a regular basis in a place that really does not give a shit about the wrestling whatsoever. And this dude just goes out there and on big moments, he has damn match of the year candidates.
Yeah.
And there's an intensity to it, and he brings guys up a level. Like, I think Sheamus went up a level being in the ring with Gunther. McIntyre went up a level being in the ring with Gunther.
I thought he was going to break skin on Sheamus's chest.
He's trying to.
Sheamus's chest was so goddamn red. I thought, okay, well, he might crack skin there at one point.
One of Sheamus's biggest assets is how pale he is.
Oh yeah,
for matches like that. But yeah, to quote
That's true.
the great poet Big E, this was what big meaty men slapping meats.
That's it.
And it was awesome. Yeah, again, I'll agree with you, Patrick. It's one of my favorite triple threat matches I've seen in a long, long time.
And the thing about this style is that it hurts. It looks like it hurts a lot, right? And it does hurt a lot. Like getting chopped fucking hurts. But it's actually better for you on the body than like taking fucking suplexes. Or even like a body slam. Like Gunther can work this style and people can work with him this way till he's in his mid 40s. And it's never going to get old because just the sound of everyone knows what it feels like to be chopped. Everybody's been drunk before and it was like, fucking chop me, bro. And fucking it hurts. So you actually know what it feels like to be chopped in a way that you don't know what it feels like to take a superplex off the top rope, for example. And that shit hurts too, but it's not a finisher because people don't know how much it actually hurts. So like it's immediately like when you build your skill set around something as simple as a chop, you're going to just naturally bring the fans into all your matches because everybody's going to wince because they know what that feels like when they hear that sound.
Yeah,
and especially how great a shape he's gotten himself into in the past couple of years too. And I'm now ready for Gunther versus the artist formerly known as Pete Dunne. I need Butch to become Pete Dunne, the Bruiserweight again, and them to have another banger because they had a few down on the lower level NXT UK, and that feud needs to happen again.
I never saw those. I haven't seen a ton of NXT stuff, especially didn't see the UK version.
Those two are. Gunther is one of those guys. He obviously can work this style of match, but he's also great with guys that are smaller than him that can kind of bounce around off of him. And Pete Dunne's just an amazing wrestler anyway.
Yeah. So next up, Raw Women's title match, Asuka versus Bianca Belair. I thought they would give it to Asuka. Bianca. First of all, give it up for Bianca's entrance. Her entrance was the shit.
Mm-hmm.
That was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then I found out later that the little girl that was the contortionist that did the big move near the end of it, her mother passed that morning.
Oh,
And that girl came out and was still able to perform like that. Shout out to her. I don't know the little girl's name, but just awesome. That whole entrance was awesome. And then Asuka's entrance was awesome. But then the match itself was fine. Not anything what I expected. TD?
yeah, it was the biggest disappointment of the weekend for me. And, I've talked probably online with y'all about how much I love Asuka, and this incarnation of her too is supposed to be just like the scariest demon monster pro wrestler you can find, and they just haven't like flipped that switch yet, and like they added the mist, which is cool, especially this year with the Great Muta going in the Hall of Fame and all that, but it's just there's another level that she can get to, and it's like I feel like they're not letting her get there. And like you said, I thought she was going to win it, and I like Bianca. I even said like on the podcast this week, she's one of the few Tennessee Vols that I'm okay with. But yeah, she's veering into like Super Cena territory for me now.
Yeah, I ain't mad at Bianca. It just didn't. I don't know. It didn't have the appeal that I thought it would.
No,
match wise. Patrick, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, the Super Cena comparison is immediately what I went to. Like, this is how you make people get stale when they just run through. Like, I know Becky beat her in whatever kind of seconds at SummerSlam, but I mean, she got her comeuppance there. Like we mentioned with Damage Control, Bianca literally beat every single woman in Damage Control by herself. And now what felt like was going to be her toughest competitor in Asuka, this revamped version of Asuka where, she seems unhinged and she's got the mist. Bianca just beats her too. And then it's like, okay, well, we can't and it's funny because what we're going to talk about when we talk about Cody Rhodes, Bianca is kind of on like sometimes you do need a hero to struggle, right? And to be kicked down into the mud. And that's where Bianca needs to go. But then sometimes you do want to see the hero just fucking run in there, run into the burning house, right, and save everybody and come out, which I think is what fans wanted to see with Cody Rhodes. So it's interesting that these two were on the same night of WrestleMania because they're in similar type of positions. And obviously they decided that Bianca needs to keep on winning. They want a long-standing champion there. And I mean, I get it, but this is how John Cena became not cool. And I don't know if that's going to happen this time because honestly, I think the WWE audience is so different. I think a lot of those fans that were anti-Cena for so long, they just left. They've either there's so much wrestling now, they've either started watching, New Japan or AEW or, they have Fight TV and they're watching GCW. I just don't think they're there anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, like TD said, this was a letdown. This is what we talked about. We thought this was going to be one of the best matches of the weekend.
Yeah, it's a shame it wasn't. I want to go back to Cena real quick. Shout out to his G.I. Joe shirt. That was fucking awesome. I failed to mention that earlier. Yeah, I wish this could have been better. Maybe they'll do a rematch at some point and Asuka will get it because if Asuka didn't get it, who's going to get it? The title, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're basically looking like who's next? Who's she going to go up against?
Unless they give it to Becky again, and I don't think they'll do that right now.
I mean, Rhea and her had that stare down. So could that be something? Do they plan on unifying the titles the way that the men's titles are unified? I don't know. I guess that's a question.
I mean, we'll see. I did forget about that bit from Raw. Maybe that was a tease for it. I don't know, man. Hell in a Cell was next to the Demon Finn Balor versus the Hall of Famer Brood Edge. They both had pretty cool entrances. There was a stoppage pretty much at one point because Finn Balor got his head bashed open with it was a ladder in that instance, right? Not the chair.
Yeah, it's pretty good health care down in hell, I guess. They just could fix you up.
Get you some super glue.
I
on
love
the
that.
side.
I think you tweeted it, Corey, on our Twitter, like the guy that was like, these two demonic entities doing battle. Oh, God, he's cut away, cut away, cut away. They just can't. Whatever.
Yeah, it's hard to. I mean, after seeing it, I get why they had to staple his head back together. You can't wrestle a match with like a 3-inch gap in your head, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, it's just they do that in Hell in a Cell, and it's like y'all are forgetting the premise of this whole match.
Right.
That there were not referee stoppages. There is no mercy. Like this is supposed to be as gory and as bloody as WWE gets. And
Yeah.
so yeah, it
He
takes
was going to
so much
lose anyway.
momentum
Just call the fucking audible and let Edge go ahead and get the pin, and then let him lay there in some blood for a half second. You know, like
yeah, do something. But
yeah. It was a little awkward at the time, like because there was basically nothing happening there for
yeah, Edge just
couple
throwing
minutes.
weapons into the ring for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But there's
I don't
nothing
know.
else to say. I don't know why Finn didn't win.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you would want to protect that demon character as much as you can, but like I don't know, does Edge need a win at WrestleMania? Like, I don't know, he's already had so many WrestleMania moments.
Yeah,
yeah.
like,
Unless you're trying to give him a bone on his way out, because he's pretty much said he's going to be out sometime this year. But this didn't really do anything unless they're going to keep pushing that Judgment Day feud with him going, which I feel like is kind of old and stale at this point. But
I mean, yeah, they whoop his ass, he comes back. They whoop his ass, he comes back.
yeah.
You kill the demon character, and then you again another kind of part timer winning over a fixture on the roster.
Yeah. So let's spend a little bit of time with the Cody Rhodes versus Roman match. Clearly didn't go the way I suspected it would. I was really shocked. I mean, we've got friends of the show that were like, I don't know, man. I think Roman's still going to get it. And I was like, y'all are all fucking crazy. But we should have known. Right? We've already talked about a bunch of shit that happened on Monday night. We should have known that it was coming. What do y'all got on it? TD,
Well,
I guess you go first.
I mean, I don't know if y'all see me on Twitter, but I actually don't mind the end result of it. I certainly get why everyone's upset and the negatives of it. But, friend of the pod, David A. Smith, a big wrestling historian in his own right, made some good points when we were talking about it. It's like everyone's kind of forgetting whose son this is. And this is the son of Dusty Rhodes. And if anyone ever drug things out and just was the baby face, it just kept getting so close without getting over, like getting to the mountaintop. It's, Dusty. And so I think it's kind of fitting for Cody. Like he can do this babyface thing and not have the strap yet. He can keep the chase going. That's what Rhodes do. They just chase and chase and chase. And so I don't mind it. Like I said, I certainly get why everyone is upset about it, but I don't hate it. I thought the match itself was, like I said, it got a little overbooked toward the end there, a little bit of a mess, and then Solo coming back after getting thrown out. It's a little like, but I think the bigger points are that, this is Dusty Rhodes' son. It's Cody Rhodes. So he might have, I don't know how much say he had in it, but I could see Cody being the one to be like, no, let's keep this going. Like, now granted, if you do it at like some, like September pay-per-view or something, that's dumb.
Right.
And I don't know if this needs to go out to next, if Roman needs to go to next WrestleMania or if Cody has to wait until next WrestleMania to get it. But they're certainly gonna, I think the other big thing is, WWE is going to get this title reign in 1,000 days. I think that was another big thing.
Yeah. I mean, that made sense. Like when you, in the grand scheme of it, you're like, okay, well, now they can say they're going for that 1,000 days or whatever.
Yeah. And so I didn't hate it.
Yeah. Patrick, what about you?
I don't necessarily hate the result of the thing either. There's a couple points that I do hate that really irked me this weekend. the biggest was, okay, so Roman stands victorious at the end of WrestleMania in exactly the same fashion that he has now done for, I don't even know how many matches in a row. Like it's all, every Roman match is the same, basically. It's big move, 1, 2, oh my God, big move, 1. And I get that that's just like the WWE main event style or whatever, but literally everybody interferes in these matches with Roman Reigns. He never wins clean. But then you get to the press conference, and basically the talk is just like, oh, why did you guys think Cody was going to win? Why did you think Cody was going to win? I don't know, guys. Maybe because you fucking presented him like he was damn Superman for the past 3 months. Right? You put him at 30 at the Royal Rumble. We didn't fucking do that. You had the thing where John Cena was having the promo with Austin Theory, and then John Cena walks up the ramp, and for some fucking reason, he's like, and here's a guy who does deserve to be at WrestleMania, Cody Rhodes, and fucking he comes out again. So, like, don't blame us and act like we're fucking idiots because we thought this dude was going to win because that's all you told us for 4 months. And people were like, I saw some people on Twitter, it was like, well, good stories don't end in predictable ways. Yes, they do. Every fucking story ends that. What are you talking about? Like, the Avengers always win at the end. It doesn't matter if it's like the sequel to the movie, but they fucking win at the end. So it's just, that was the first thing that irked me. The second thing that I do not understand, and I want somebody to explain it to me. So if you're a listener out there and you can explain this to me in a way that makes it make sense, please hit us up on Twitter. Let us know.
Alabama Slam
Pod. Okay. We're going to go look at the other champion from the other company, MJF. MJF and Roman Reigns are basically the exact same type of champion, which is they are essentially chicken shit heels who cheat to win constantly. The difference is in AEW, everybody hates MJF. The commentators fucking hates him. The other wrestlers hate him. You see it right now in these 4 pillar matches. Nobody has respect for him, but yet he's still the champion because he figures it out mentally how to get past these dudes. On the other side in WWE, Roman Reigns does exactly the same stuff. He has Jimmy and Jay do all the dirty work for him. You saw it with Solo Sikoa hitting the spike to put down Cody Rhodes. And yet, for some reason, Roman Reigns is presented as like this dude that everyone has like the utmost respect before. The commentary is like, oh, this dude's unbeatable. He's on a different level, God mode, right? No, that throws me for a loop because this is not like it was when Hulk Hogan was in the 80s and was just unbeatable and was body slamming Andre the Giant and nobody was beating him. This is not like, the dudes that he's up against now with like Pedro Morales and Bruno Sammartino. All those dudes were baby faces and they all like just won it by themselves. Like MJF is not presented as the best wrestler in that company, right? He just happens to be the champion. There's guys that are better than him. Roman Reigns is presented as the best wrestler in the company, and yet he never beats anybody clean. Yeah. And so you have the stare down between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns Monday night. Why does Cody just not look at Roman Reigns and be like, you're a coward? I have no respect for you. These 900-something days, 1,000 days, whatever the hell it is, none of it matters because you don't do this on your own. Like if you were a man, you would face me on one-on-one.
Yeah, that's one of the points I made to Jamie when we were watching the first part of the show. Is I was like, they don't often address, cheating. I was like, you don't oftentimes see somebody come out and say, "Oh, well, you only won because you cheated." Well, that was like the first thing out of Cody's mouth. So I was like, okay, well, they're going there. They're like, okay, you only won because Solo was there.
But it needs to be. It's got to be more, though. That's what I don't understand. Right. It has to be more. Like every single Roman match ends with either the Usos or Solo getting in there. Like after Cardiff and Wales, right, where Solo debuts and screws over Drew McIntyre. And then again, like Romans comes out and the commentary is like, here it is. He's the unbeatable champion. It's like, well, I don't understand the reverence that Roman Reigns has received in that company in kayfabe, right? Like I get outside of kayfabe why he's presented as the dude, right? I mean, he is a star. We've talked about how he's one of the best wrestlers, one of the best character wrestlers of all time. But like, I don't understand the reverence that's paid to him when he's essentially like, I get that he's a 6'4", 250-pound middle linebacker monster, but he's essentially a coward.
Yeah.
And no one has just come out and said it yet. And it's odd to me. It's an odd choice of storytelling.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
And people forget, like, before this Sami Zayn stuff, the bloodline shit was getting old. People were complaining about it. Roman's not been the main character of WWE this year. It's been Jay and Sammy. That's been the story. And then you had the Cody that came back in Royal Rumble, and he was positioned to the top and all this sort of stuff like that. But, like, it's not been Roman. Roman's kind of skated by these past, like, 7-8 months.
Yeah, when Drew didn't take the belt off him in the Castle pay-per-view, everyone was pissed.
Yeah.
Like, that was a huge thing. And like you said, another, like, late WCW callback, it's like the end of the NWO days, and it's just like we knew what was going to happen every match. Is that, 3 or 4 guys were going to come out and ruin the day for the good guys. And, like, but at least they called them cowards,
Right.
Or Bullet Club in Japan, same thing. Like, they get, booed, they're hated for it. But yeah, it's a weird thing. I don't have the answer for you.
Yeah, because Triple H even gets in the press conference and is like, Roman Reigns is the greatest, one of the greatest champions of all time. Like, what's happening? I don't understand. He's cheating every time.
Yeah,
every single time he cheats. This would be like if I don't know. If the Patriots just like openly cheated, right? And there was fucking, we had video evidence that Bill Belichick was stealing plays, and that's how they won 7 Super Bowls. And people would still be like, Bill Belichick, hell of a coach, greatest coach of all time. And you'd be like, well, he was a cheater. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, that's why they take titles away from cheaters, right? Because they don't. That's why Barry Bonds is not in the Hall of Fame in baseball, right? Cheaters don't get rewarded, and they don't get treated with respect. But yet, here Roman Reigns is, and he's being talked about in the same breath as like Bruno Sammartino and Pedro Morales and Bob Backlund, and all these dudes who in kayfabe are these legendary figures. And like I said, I get outside of kayfabe why Roman Reigns is positioned the way he is, but his character is not. Everyone shouldn't be bowing down to this guy.
Well, and to make it weirder too, his debut on the main roster was part of a story where they did exactly what you said they should do. With CM Punk at the time breaking the modern day record for title reign or whatever, and the Shield debuted, and everyone was calling a Punk for a coward because the Shield came in would save his ass, and so for them, it's one of these weird things where WWE doesn't remember their own history. Like, yeah, it's a weird choice for them. Not a single person to call them out for it.
But they, I think part of the reason might be because Roman Reigns is 100% Vince McMahon's creation.
Mm-hmm.
And, he wants him to pass Hogan because while Hogan was Vince's creation, Hogan then leaves and damn near puts Vince out of business when he goes to WCW, right? Morales, Sammartino, Vince was a kid when all those guys were popping off. So this is the first time where it's 100%. I got Roman Reigns is my thing. I pushed him down people's throats for years, and we held the course. Whether that was right or wrong, we did what we did, and now he's going to hold this belt, and I want him to be at the top of those charts. And it's a weird way to tell stories. I'll say that. It's a weird motivation to tell a story.
Yeah.
So that's what got me more so than anything. It's just like the idiocracy that I felt like they treated the audience with for basically being like, well, why did you guys think Cody was going to win when they didn't give us any kind of evidence? Not to the contrary, right? And then this reverence that Roman Reigns gets treated with, I don't understand. It does not make sense to me narratively.
Yeah, he's got a fucking Brody Lee's kid out there to give him the belt. I was like, oh, he's a shoe-in. He's going to win this. This is a big moment. I'm like, didn't expect to tear up watching WrestleMania, but there I was. I say that, but then I teared up a little bit with the John Cena and the Make-A-Wish kids at the beginning. And then they got to watch his ass take a nut punch.
Yeah, that was That was kind of cruel. Get the Make-A-Wish kids there on stage, and no, actually, your hero's going to lose.
Yeah. I don't know. With the Cody thing, that like in the bloodline stuff, you always want to get out before it gets stale, right? That's my kind of fear here, is that we're going to keep dragging this thing out, and then the payoff when Jay super kicks Roman is not going to mean as much. If Jay would have super kicked Roman Sunday night, and we got, okay, now Cody is a champion, and now Sami and Kevin are champions, and now, holy shit, are we going to get a return of main event Jay? Is Jay going to get his comeuppance against his cousin, who, he's basically helped win this, keep this long title reign? Now WWE's in a very different spot come Monday night, and we're not bitching about it as much as we are.
Yeah.
Sometimes the most obvious thing is the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. It's just fucking Roman will hold it till next WrestleMania, and he'll have the same match, and whatever. It'll be against The Rock or something. And in classic WWE fashion, they'll do the right thing 13 months later when nobody gives a shit.
When I may not be watching at that point.
Yeah.
We'll see how much longer. We'll see. So my notes next say Monday Night Raw bullshit. I think we covered most of that.
Yeah, there's nothing else to say there.
I was going to say I could actually defend the Brock thing. I think it's intriguing at the least if they do it right. Now, granted, if Vince is back in charge full time, then they're not going to do it right, and it's a horrible mess. But they're at least from an optimistic standpoint, if we're trying to be optimistic, there's 100 different ways they can go with why Brock did what he did. You can have like someone paid him off to do it. Brock's just unhinged. There's some Paul Heyman chicanery going on, So I think at the very least it does what you want good television to do, is to give you a reason to tune in next week. But other than that, yes, the entire episode of Monday Night Raw was bullshit and a horrible Raw after Mania. #.
Yeah.
I guess why did they not just do the Brock thing? Like why was Brock not the reason why Cody didn't get to main event WrestleMania? Why not do this 3 months ago? To where now, like, Cody is damn near on the precipice of fucking finishing the story at WrestleMania, and here comes Brock Lesnar, just laying him out. And then you go, oh shit! Did Roman actually threaten that Cody was going to win at WrestleMania, and they got Paul Heyman to pay off Brock? Then you could have done fucking. You could have had Jay and Roman, or you could have had Sami and Roman main event WrestleMania if it was just going to be Roman's going to retain anyway.
Yeah, I guess the motivation behind the Monday thing could lead into that. Well, it just goes to show that nobody in the back has Cody's back.
But
right?
People do have Cody's. That's what was fucking stupid too. Why did Sami and Kevin not come out?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was gonna say.
People do have Cody's back.
They had his back previously, yeah, but like nobody came out that night, and then Brock comes out. But then I was like, well, this is an odd match to begin with, and then I wasn't honestly super surprised when he did turn on him, but I was like, well, this is just fucking weird.
They did have at least the stipulation thing where anybody who partnered with Cody would never be able to challenge for the title under Reigns, but still, that's I don't know. I just think Cody's going to chase it for another probably year. I think they have him win it next year, I guess. I don't know. Again, with the whole Vince situation, who the hell knows?
Yeah.
That's such a long time, though.
Yeah,
with the way people.
It's asking a lot.
The way people consume content these days, like they don't make 4-hour movies for a reason, right? And that's what I'm feeling like. This is like, I think Corey, I told you, this is like a one of those Netflix series where you get done watching the 10 episodes and you're like, it's all right, but it would have made for one hell of a 90-minute movie if they'd just done that. Like sometimes you only have so much real estate with stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So real quick, let's get into some AEW. Couple of high points. Jay White surprise at the top comes out to help Juice Robinson. Sucks always to see Ricky Starks get the shit beat out of him. But it was cool to see Jay White officially in AEW. The return of Sue, Trent Small. That was funny.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I love seeing them get out of that van. That was funny as shit.
Big pop.
Yeah, and then House of Black whooping ass as always, and then the end, FTR gets the win, and revealed they re-signed. The speculation was that they re-signed, but then did y'all see the thing that Dax held up after the show?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, taking a little shot at Vince, and then today it comes out like they never even considered going back to WWE. Like there was a lot of speculation, et cetera, et cetera, and they're like, "No, the schedule's too much. I want to be with my family, and I basically only have to work 1-2 days a week with AEW, and we get to do cooler shit." Is basically the gist of what I saw today. Um, but yeah, I mean, top to bottom, I thought it was a good show. You mentioned the Wembley announcement already. That could be pretty big if they can manage to pull that off. But it's going to take a lot.
I mean, it's just crazy to think about, first of all, going to WWE for a second, I've never seen, since I've been a wrestling fan, just a drop off in quality that far, that quickly. It went from night one to like Monday, and like it feels like WWE has lost just any kind of momentum that they've had.
Yeah,
especially if people like Bailey start walking, and if McIntyre is like, "Fuck this, I'm gone." And then we've talked about it. I've said it on this podcast a ton of times. Like AEW, you kind of just need to be in the position where, like, it's what Dax said. It's a cool place to work. You get to do cool shit. The schedule's lighter because there's going to be a lot of these dudes in WWE who are done making all their big time money and are like, I just want to do some cool art here for a little bit. And then AEW becomes a very appealing place where if you're trying to take AEW up to that next level, that I think all three of us think the potential, it carries that potential to do that. You're going to have to start firing on all cylinders, and you can't have letdowns because you're not in a position where a lot of fans are going to have a lot of patience for you. So that's why I think that the Wembley thing is such a huge announcement for that company, because it has to mean, I think, they have something cooked up. Like they know for sure something is going to happen, or else you do not announce that we're going to do Wembley. You can still do UK and do a fucking just regular arena, right? 20,000 people. Wembley that's a different ball game if you think you're going to put that many people in there.
Yeah, I saw a tweet last night that I sent to you and our friend Steven that said AEW didn't announce a CM Punk return tonight, but then they announced that they're running Wembley Stadium and that FTR is staying, so they kind of announced a Punk return tonight. Yeah, I mean,
that would be massive.
Did y'all see the All Access show afterward?
I did not watch it. I need to catch up on those.
I liked it. I liked the show. I like All Access. I'm getting worked, and I know I'm getting fucking worked, and I'm kind of all right with it. I'd be damned if I ain't starting to feel just a little bit for Sammy Guevara.
God damn it!
Just a little bit.
I started to tweet the same shit last night. I was like, it was late. I was fucking exhausted, and he gets all teary backstage after the 2 out of 3 falls with Danielson, and Danielson just back there giving him props and just heaping praise on him. And then you see Sammy talking to the camera and like tearing up, and he was like, been waiting for shit like this my whole life. And I was like, I almost tweeted out, "God damn it, Tony Khan, don't make me become a Sammy stan."
Maybe this is what the guy needed. We've talked about all the potential that he's had, and maybe it is just like, hey, we need to kind of see who the real Sammy Guevara is, like the actual real guy. Like talking about working at Whataburger and working at Subway. Like I think Sammy probably has struggled from what a lot of really young, successful people struggle with, which is like if all of us think back to how we acted when we were 24, 25, can you just imagine if we would have had like been surrounded by beautiful women all the time and had a shit ton of money and was on like top, used to having a high where we go out and fucking 20,000 people are chanting for us? Like I'd have been off the fucking rails, dude.
Yeah, you can't tell him nothing, probably.
No, so
No.
like it happens, and then you get a bad rap, and it's unfortunate. But like you saw, I think a part of who this guy really is, which is like he's one of us, man. He's a dude that's loved wrestling for forever, and now he's in this position where he's working with his heroes, and he's a dude that I think, like a lot of us, struggle with imposter syndrome and like, am I actually good enough? And then you see in that moment on the All Access show where the fucking best wrestler in the world, maybe the best wrestler ever, and Bryan Danielson comes up and just has a huge smile on his face and is like, "Thanks so much, man. That was so much fucking fun." Like, that's all. Fuck, I'm starting to feel for the dude. I'm gonna have to buy a shirt now, I guess. Shit. That needs to translate on the show, though. We gotta get that onto Dynamite somehow.
Yeah, I mean,
And Ty Mello's fucking great on this show. As a person who immigrated to the United States trying to make the American dream, like all these fucking people are great. They've figured out reality TV, and I think they've picked the absolute perfect people to base this All Access show around. And Britt Baker, Britt is phenomenal, and I think Sammy and Tay have so much potential in here too.
You know, I mentioned it last week. I'd already turned into sort of a Brit fan lately, and I didn't think I'd ever say that. But y'all okay? Something sounds like it went
My
down
bad. I
over
fucking
there.
smacked the shit out this mic. My bad.
I was like, Patrick that fell out on us.
That was a stiff shot right there, man.
Yeah, I hit the shit out of it.
Chopping mics.
Some Gunther level shit happening. But yeah, you know, even more so with Britt after seeing last week's episode. And the way she handles herself backstage and everything. And I don't know, man. It was cool to see Sammy try to make peace with Eddie. You know, you mentioned it before we started recording that it was basically like Eddie just being like, yeah, we're cool. Just go on and get the fuck out of my face.
Guys like Eddie, though, Eddie will come around. I've worked with guys like that where it's just like, you know, it's tough to get them to like to open up to you and to like you. And obviously Sammy and Eddie have had their differences, which they addressed on the All Access show last night. I think that there's a path forward where I think Sammy and Eddie could mend some fences. But Eddie was basically just like he was just trying to say like we're not gonna be friends. So just like stop. Yeah. We'll be professional.
Yeah.
Anytime I can get Eddie Kingston on screen, it's good.
Mm-hmm. Well, y'all sold me if nothing else. I'll go look it up on YouTube TV tonight.
It's really good. That's what I need to try to get Jamie, and that may be my angle to get her into AEW.
That's probably it. I think that's another reason why they did it too, and that's why Britt is the star of the show. Because there's a fan base that they're missing out on. And much in the same way that like Total Divas was a big bump for WWE. It's cheap content to produce. Everybody's already there anyway. They're all in one spot for about basically 3 days. And you just put a camera back there and you find a couple people to center it around. And so, hey, let's center it around Britt Baker. Let's center it around Tom Mello and Sammy Guevara. And we even got some Thunder Rosa this week too.
Yeah, that was interesting that they spent that much time with her. I guess they I'm sure they didn't know it immediately. Maybe they did. Maybe they felt like they owed it to her after what they had recorded the previous week. But that was definitely interesting to see that much of her. And I guess what they do moving forward with her when she's able to wrestle again.
The Young Bucks are still just the worst part of the show. It's just not. It's not working. I don't know. I would leave all their stuff on the cutting room floor, but obviously they can't do that. But they just feel, and the Young Bucks feel very guarded in a way that nobody else on that show feels. Maybe it's intentional. But like you saw it from the first episode, where like the only thing people want to know about is the brawl out, and immediately it's just like we're not going to talk about it. And it's probably because they. Legally they couldn't talk about it. I get it. But it's when you put that up against, okay, here's Adam Cole telling you that he was waking up in the middle of the night with migraines and vomiting and didn't think he was going to, much less be back to 100% health for just his life, much less fucking get back in the ring and wrestle. And you have Britt talking about the struggles with that. Then you have Tom Mello talking about coming from a different country and having to learn the language. And you talk about Sammy Guevara, who's working fast food. And then the Young Bucks are basically just like, yeah, we know the one thing you want to talk about. Fuck it, we ain't gonna talk about it though. And you go, okay, well, that's all right. Then I guess I'll fast forward these parts whenever it's on All Access.
Well, and you already have them with being the elite too, so you have their kind of behind the. Even I know that's a lot of totes line between kayfabe and reality too, but it's you got a lot of bucks out there already. Yeah, there's a lot. True. We don't need to. This show I think would have been better served if they would have. I don't know. There has to be some. I would really like to seem like an underneath guy or girl who doesn't get a lot of screen time and just about like one of the refs. Like, what about Remsburg or like Aubrey or something? Somebody like that would have been interesting.
It'd be cool to see like if they touch on any of like, Action Andretti getting a shot, like because Chris Jericho is, he's come out and been like, yeah, I just saw this dude on Dark one night and was like, fuck it, I want to wrestle him and put him over. Yeah. So we'll see what all that or Jade Cargill. I think she would have been perfect for this. Yeah. Who knows, man? Anybody got any final thoughts before we wrap this shit up?
I did think that the Guns had the coolest entrance. Using Mini Men is that's a great entrance song. It's really funny that two white boys came out to that song with so many N-bombs in it. Yeah. But I love that song. It's my favorite, like one of my favorite rap songs in that era specifically. And I thought it was a great entrance. And it sucks to have them lose that match too with that entrance. But I just wanted to note that. And then I also think it's hilarious that Adam Cole continues his role as the actual person making the big announcements. You're right. Yeah. I do want to pull up a tweet from Stokely. If you've got anything.
Oh yeah, I mean, you should have known right away the Guns are going to lose because they got the special entrance. Yeah, I mean that's the AEW outside of Hangman where he won the championship. Anytime you get a special entrance, you're going to lose.
That's their version of the WWE hometown match. Like they always have their wrestler. Yeah, their guys lose in hometown. AEW, you get a special entrance, you're screwed.
Yeah, so hey, you're going to lose this match, but you're going to look fucking cool as shit coming out of it though. All right. Yeah, I do like the Guns though. I think they have tons and tons of potential.
Mm-hmm. They get better every week too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like, I relay it to sports all the time. I like seeing guys put in big time positions and then they exceed those expectations because then, as management, you can put stock into these people. And these are people that you can build around because they're not going to shrink under the bright lights. And I mean, they grew up in this shit. I mean, their fucking dad their dad was over and is still continually over to this day.
It's still over as fuck, yeah.
Oh, sorry. That's one thing. You surprised that what's his face? The Acclaimed, the Rap did not mention any Vince stuff. I was a little shocked at that.
Probably because he was told not to. I would imagine that was.
I'm guessing because he's gotten himself in some hot water before. He probably has to have that shit vetted at this point.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of. Hey, Tony, here's my first draft. And Tony just takes a red pen like a fucking high school English teacher and he just goes, nope. And fucking right down the thing. Because with all the news that came out, it was a pretty tame rap. So
yeah, very much. Yeah.
I think he got all his leeway, his leash. He's got it all cut off now. You can't do all that shit.
So Stokely last night says, I knew not to trust Matt Hardy. Anyone who still wears JNCO jeans in 2023 is a sick individual.
The Jinkos, baby.
Jinkos. Yeah. You can always count on Stokely for some comedy gold on Twitter. Well, man, I think that's it for us. If y'all don't already, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Alabama Slam Pod. And then we are on Facebook as well. You can search for Alabama Slam Podcast. And follow the Alabama Take for our podcast network. Lots of other stuff happening over there. We'll let TD do his plug in a second. But we've got several different podcasts hosted by friends that are mostly weekly or bi-weekly, and we would appreciate the support. You can get a T-shirt if you want an Alabama Slam or Alabama Take T-shirt. They're on tpublic.com. Just search for either one, and we really appreciate it. TD, tell everybody where they can find you and your podcasts.
You can look up Taking on Sports on Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff. We are also on Twitter now, Taking on Sports and OG. We just put out an episode this past Monday, talked some Final Four, NBA, NFL off-season stuff. You mentioned it top of the episode, but we are bi-weekly at the moment, probably until football season, just so we can build up content to watch. And that's it. So the next episode will be not this Monday, but a week from Monday.
Go Braves.
Go Braves.
Need to get that in real quick.
Yeah, always.
Starting off pretty hot. Ain't mad at that.
World Series, baby.
Let's go. Well, I think that's going to do it, guys. Once again, follow us on the socials if you want. That would be awesome. And tell a friend about us. That would be helpful. Let's get these numbers up.
Or if you want to just take control of our social media, fucking hit us up too. We'll give you the keys, man. We'll let you drive the thing.
I'm fucking horrible at it. Patrick does a pretty good job when he decides he wants to tweet, but it ain't that often.
I get about one tweet. I felt like I did a really good Bruce Springsteen tweet, and that's
that was nice. All
I got. That's one little player.
I laughed my ass off when I read that. That was good shit. I needed that last night. Yeah, man. Y'all tune in and listen next week, and we appreciate it. Talk to y'all then.
Later, guys.
Later.